In the delivery room at St. Mary's Hospital in suburban Houston, Texas, Jennifer Harrison held her newborn daughter to her chest. Born at 3:17 a.m. after 7 hours of labor, Emma was a healthy baby weighing 6 pounds. The moment she cried out, tears filled Jennifer's eyes. This first child was truly a gift from heaven. "She's absolutely beautiful," her husband Tom said, settling beside his wife and gently stroking the tiny hand with his finger. His eyes glistened with tears too. After 5 years of marriage, the couple had earnestly wished for a child. Following a miscarriage, they had approached this pregnancy with the hope that this time would be different. When Emma's tiny fingers wrapped around her father's finger, Tom said with a choked voice, "You're our treasure, Emma." There was a knock on the delivery room door, and following the nurse, Tom's mother Margaret entered. She had been like a second mother to Jennifer. However, when she saw Emma, there was something in her expression that differed from the joy Jennifer had expected. "A girl," Margaret's voice carried a hint of disappointment. But she quickly changed her expression and smiled. "Still, she's a lovely child. I can clearly see she has Harrison blood." Jennifer tilted her head. During the pregnancy, Margaret had repeatedly said, "I hope it's a boy." It was obvious she strongly desired a male heir to continue the Harrison family line, but Jennifer had thought she would still be happy about her grandchild's birth. "Mother, gender doesn't matter," Tom said gently. "Emma is our precious daughter." "Of course, Tom," Margaret placed her hand on her son's shoulder. "I just hoped there would be a child to carry on the Harrison name. But Emma is family too. I'm sure she'll grow up to be a wonderful child." The next morning, Margaret visited the hospital room with handmade baby clothes. The pale pink dress was adorned with delicate embroidery. Her sewing skills were well known in the neighborhood, and she had made clothes for many babies before. "I stayed up all night making this," Margaret said proudly. "I think it will suit Emma perfectly." Jennifer was touched. When she had seen her mother-in-law's complex expression, she had worried, but this reassured her that Margaret truly loved her granddaughter. "Thank you so much, Mother. It's a beautiful dress." On the day of discharge, Jennifer and her family returned home. The two-story house in the quiet suburban neighborhood had been their home since their newlywed days, filled with memories. Emma's room had been prepared during the pregnancy, decorated with pale yellow wallpaper and white furniture. Margaret began visiting frequently from the day after discharge. "New mothers have it tough," she would say, helping with housework and caring for Emma. Jennifer was deeply grateful for her devoted support. On the third afternoon, Margaret brought a special herbal tea. "This is a special tea that helps with milk production," she explained, offering a warm cup to Jennifer. The tea leaves had a distinctive, somewhat oriental fragrance. "What kind of herbs are these?" Jennifer asked, taking the steaming cup. "Trade secret," Margaret smiled. "It's a recipe I learned during my nursing days. Many new mothers have solved their breastfeeding problems with this. It's important to drink it every day." Jennifer took a sip. It was slightly bitter but not unpleasantly so. The warm tea felt comforting to her body, exhausted from childbirth. "Thank you. I'll have it every day." That evening, when Tom returned from work, Jennifer was drinking the herbal tea while putting Emma to sleep. When she explained it was a special tea their mother had made, Tom sniffed it with interest. "That's just like Mother. She always wants to take care of everyone," he said, placing his hand on his wife's shoulder. "But please get enough rest. Your health is most important, for Emma's sake too." Jennifer felt reassured by her husband's kindness. Surrounded by Margaret's well-meaning support and her husband's love, she was enjoying life as a happy new mother. Emma also seemed healthy, and her occasional little smiles melted her parents' hearts. On the morning of Emma's third day, Jennifer noticed something unusual. Even at the time when Emma usually wanted to nurse, she remained asleep. When Jennifer gently touched her cheek, her temperature was normal, but her complexion seemed worse than usual. When she picked her up, Emma made a small fussing sound but quickly fell asleep again. "Something's wrong," Jennifer called to her husband. Tom was making coffee in the kitchen but turned around when he heard his wife's worried voice. "What's the matter?" "Emma seems strange. She has less energy than usual, and she's not asking for milk," Jennifer said, walking into the living room while holding Emma. "I think she cried less last night too." Tom peered at his daughter's face. "She does seem a little sleepy. But don't babies sleep a lot?" "Mother said so too, newborns spend most of the day sleeping." But something's different, Jennifer's intuition was sounding an alarm. Though she had only recently become a mother, she was sensing subtle changes in her daughter. "I'm going to call the pediatrician." When she called their trusted pediatric clinic that morning, she was able to get an afternoon appointment. Dr. Williams was a well-regarded pediatrician in the area, and Jennifer and Tom had trusted him since the pregnancy. The clinic's waiting room was decorated in bright colors, with children's picture books and toys. However, Jennifer had no leisure to enjoy the atmosphere around her. Emma continued sleeping, only occasionally crying softly. "Mrs. Harrison, please come in," the nurse called, and Jennifer and Tom entered the examination room. Dr. Williams was a gentle physician in his mid-50s who had been practicing pediatrics for over 20 years. He carefully examined Emma, checking her temperature, heart rate, and reflexes. He used a stethoscope to check her heart sounds and breathing, and observed inside her mouth. "Her weight is increasing steadily," the doctor said while recording the measurements. "Her vital signs are within normal range. Newborns have great individual differences, and sleep patterns vary widely. I don't think there's anything to worry about." "But she's clearly different from yesterday," Jennifer persisted. "Her nursing time has gotten shorter, and her crying seems weaker too." Dr. Williams nodded understandingly. "Mothers' observation skills are wonderful. But babies in their first few days show various changes as they adapt to their environment. If the same condition continues tomorrow, please contact us again." On the way home, Tom tried to comfort his wife. The doctor said not to worry. "Don't you think you might be getting too anxious?" "Too anxious?" Jennifer turned to look at him. "I'm her mother. I know her better than anyone, don't I?" "Of course you do," Tom quickly corrected himself. "I just thought that maybe because this is our first child, you might be worrying too much." That evening, Margaret visited with dinner. "You must be tired," she said, offering homemade soup and sandwiches. "I heard you went to the hospital today. Is Emma all right?" "The doctor said there's no problem." Jennifer couldn't hide her anxiety. "But I still feel something's different." Margaret picked up Emma and observed her. "She does seem a little sleepy. But all 3 children I raised had their own personalities." Tom hardly cried at all during his first week. "Really?" "Yes. I was worried at first, but it turned out to be nothing." "Experience counts in child rearing," Margaret continued with a confident tone. "Are you drinking the herbal tea every day?" "Yes, I have it every day." "That's good. When the quality of breast milk improves, Emma should naturally become more energetic." Margaret took out a new package of herbal tea. "I've changed the blend a little. This should be more effective." On the morning of Emma's 5th day, Jennifer noticed further changes. Emma's stomach seemed a little distended. When she touched it while changing her diaper, there was definitely a firmer feeling than usual. "Tom, come here for a moment," Jennifer called her husband. "Feel Emma's stomach." Tom lightly pressed his daughter's stomach with his finger. "It does seem a little swollen. But I've heard that babies are prone to gas." "Gas?" Mother mentioned it. Newborns have immature digestive systems, so their stomachs often get distended. Maybe burping her would help. Jennifer picked up Emma and gently patted her back, but no burp came. The stomach distension didn't change either. Her anxiety only grew, but since both her husband and mother-in-law said it was common, she began thinking she might be worrying excessively. That afternoon, Margaret visited again. Seeing Emma's condition, she said, "Her stomach is a little distended." "I thought so too," Jennifer felt relieved. It wasn't just something she alone had noticed. "But this isn't unusual," Margaret explained in a calm tone. "My friend's grandchild had the same symptoms when she was about a week old. It turned out to be a developmental issue with the digestive system, and time solved it." "Really?" "Yes. A baby's body changes daily. The digestive system develops rapidly in the first few weeks after birth, so temporary symptoms can appear during that process." Margaret placed her hand on Emma's forehead. "She has no fever, and her breathing is normal. Worrying too much can adversely affect breast milk, so it's important to relax." That night, while drinking the new herbal tea Margaret had brought, Jennifer was thinking. Her mother-in-law's experience was indeed extensive, and she had received many accurate pieces of advice. Surely she was just being oversensitive as a first-time mother. However, when nursing Emma in the middle of the night, Jennifer again felt something was wrong. Emma's sucking strength had clearly weakened. And the stomach distension seemed to have increased from the previous day. The next morning, before Tom left for work, Jennifer consulted with him again. "Something's definitely wrong. Emma's stomach is getting more distended." "Jen, you're tired," Tom said gently. Both mother and the doctor said not to worry. "Let's watch her a little longer." Left alone, Jennifer held Emma while gazing out the window. Her maternal instinct told her something was wrong, but everyone around her dismissed it. She was beginning to lose confidence in her own judgment. However, on the morning of Emma's 6th day, when Jennifer woke up, Emma's condition was obviously abnormal at a glance. Compared to her small body, only her stomach was swollen like a balloon. When touched, it was hard as stone. Emma's face was pale, and her breathing had become shallow. "Tom, wake up." Jennifer shook her husband violently. "Something's wrong with Emma." When Tom opened his eyes and saw his daughter, the color drained from his face. "Oh my God. This is clearly abnormal." The two hurriedly got dressed, wrapped Emma in a blanket, and got in the car. They covered the usual 20-minute drive to St. Mary's Hospital emergency room in 15 minutes. "It's okay, Emma. Mommy's here with you," Jennifer whispered while holding her daughter in the back seat. However, Emma's response was weak, as if her consciousness was fading. When they arrived at the emergency room, the nurse at reception immediately understood the seriousness of Emma's condition. "Please go directly to the examination room," she said, quickly guiding Jennifer and Tom. The pediatrician on duty, Dr. Patel, looked grave the moment she saw Emma. "How long has she been in this condition?" the doctor asked while quickly measuring Emma's temperature, heart rate, and blood pressure. "She got much worse this morning," Jennifer answered tearfully. "But her stomach started swelling gradually 3 days ago." Dr. Patel carefully palpated Emma's abdomen. Her expression grew increasingly serious. "This is not a symptom normally seen in newborns. We need blood tests and imaging immediately." Nurses moved busily about, drawing blood from Emma. When the needle was inserted into her tiny arm, Emma cried weakly but quickly became quiet again. "First, we'll do an ultrasound," the doctor explained. "We need to see what's in the abdomen." In the ultrasound room, the technician applied gel to Emma's tiny stomach and placed the probe on it. Seeing the image displayed on the monitor, the technician's face turned pale. "Dr. Patel, please come immediately," the technician's voice was shaking. When the doctor looked at the screen, she frowned. "This looks like some kind of mass, but it's clearly different from normal organ placement. We need to examine it in more detail with an MRI." While waiting for the MRI, Jennifer and Tom felt crushed by anxiety in the waiting room. Jennifer was blaming herself. She should have brought her daughter to the hospital sooner. She should have trusted her maternal instinct instead of being swayed by others' opinions. Don't blame yourself, Tom gripped his wife's hand. You noticed the changes from the beginning. I was the one who dismissed them. 2 hours later, the MRI began. Emma was sedated and lay sleeping on the examination table. As the sound of the massive machine echoed, Jennifer waited with a prayer-like feeling. After the examination, Dr. Patel was reviewing the MRI images with other doctors. Her expression was filled with confusion and shock. Radiologist Dr. Harris, pediatric surgeon Dr. Chin, and department head Dr. Roberts were also called in. Look at these results, Dr. Patel headed to the conference room with a serious expression. Four doctors were staring at the MRI images. The screen showed cross-sectional views of Emma's tiny abdomen. There was a mass of foreign matter that would normally be inconceivable. What on earth is this? Dr. Roberts murmured. It's not a tumor. Dr. Harris analyzed the images in detail. The density and shape don't match any known lesions. It's not an organ malformation either. Dr. Chen shook her head. This looks like some foreign substance that has solidified inside the body. Dr. Patel enlarged the image. This high-density material looks like metal fragments, but the shape is too irregular. And this inflammatory reaction in the surrounding tissue. Could it be, Dr. Roberts gasped, chemical substances that accumulated in the body and crystallized? The four doctors were speechless. Even Dr. Roberts, with over 40 years of medical experience, had never seen such an abnormal case. When Dr. Patel returned to the examination room, Jennifer prepared for the worst, seeing her expression. I need to speak with you parents, the doctor began gravely. What's in Emma's abdomen is a mass of foreign matter that would normally be inconceivable. Foreign matter? Tom asked in a trembling voice. We have never seen a case like this before. It's not a tumor or organ abnormality, but an unknown substance that has accumulated in the abdominal cavity, the doctor explained while showing the images. This substance is very hard and is compressing the surrounding organs. Jennifer stared at the screen and trembled. She couldn't accept the reality that an unknown mass existed inside her daughter's tiny body. How could this happen? Why? She asked through tears. We're currently conducting urgent detailed analysis, the doctor continued. However, until we determine what this substance is, immediate surgical removal is necessary. If left untreated, Emma's life will be in danger. Surgery. Tom's face went pale. Yes. It will be a very delicate operation, but there's no other choice. We'll assemble the best pediatric surgical team. At that moment, Margaret appeared in the waiting room. She had rushed over after receiving Tom's call. However, her reaction to hearing the doctor's explanation seemed strange to Jennifer. There was surprise, but somehow it seemed contrived. We'll prepare for surgery, Dr. Patel stood up. The family should wait outside the operating room. The surgery could take several hours. 2 hours before the surgery began, Jennifer was crying while holding Emma. She couldn't believe the reality that her child, barely a week old, had to undergo life-threatening surgery. Why Emma? Why us? She collapsed crying against her husband's chest. Tom couldn't hold back his tears either. It'll be all right. Emma is a strong child. She'll pull through. Margaret was in a distant spot, talking to someone on her cell phone. Her expression was serious, and she occasionally looked back at Emma. At 2 p.m., Emma was taken to the operating room. An anesthesia mask was placed over her tiny body, and she quickly fell asleep. Jennifer held her daughter's hand one last time and whispered, "Hang in there, Emma. Mommy's here with you." When the operating room doors closed, heavy silence filled the corridor. Jennifer and Tom held hands and waited with prayer-like feelings. 3 hours later, the operating room doors opened. Dr. Chen appeared with an exhausted expression. The surgery was successful. Emma is all right. Jennifer's knees nearly buckled with relief. However, the doctor's next words brought new terror. However, a shocking fact has been discovered about the substance we removed. This didn't occur naturally. It's a crystallized chemical substance that was artificially introduced into the body. Artificially? Tom was surprised. Yes. Please wait for the detailed analysis results. However, this may not have been accidental. 2 days after the surgery, detailed analysis of the removed substance was being conducted in the hospital laboratory. Chemical analysis specialist Dr. Sanchez was examining the composition of the foreign matter under a microscope. The results shocked the entire medical team. This is unbelievable, Dr. Sanchez handed the report to Dr. Patel. This substance contains multiple chemical components that are banned in America. In particular, heavy metal compounds used in traditional Chinese medicine have been detected in high concentrations. Dr. Patel looked through the report and frowned. Mercury, lead, and, what is this? It's an arsenic compound derived from a mineral called realgar. It has been used in Chinese herbal medicine since ancient times, but due to its high toxicity, it's now strictly regulated. It can have fatal effects on fetuses and newborns. So Emma ingested these substances either during pregnancy or after birth. Definitely. Moreover, there are traces of continuous ingestion. They gradually accumulated in the body and eventually crystallized. Dr. Patel immediately decided to report to the police. This was clearly an assault case, or attempted murder. The next morning, Houston Police Detective David Reynolds appeared before Jennifer and Tom. I'd like to speak with you about your daughter's case, Detective Reynolds began in a calm tone. According to the doctor's report, illegal chemical substances were found in Emma's body. This is not accidental. Jennifer asked in a trembling voice, illegal chemical substances. Who would do such a thing, and why? To investigate that, please tell me everything Emma could have ingested from pregnancy until now. Food, drinks, medicine, supplements, anything at all. Tom and Jennifer desperately tried to remember. During pregnancy, she had followed her doctor's guidance and only taken folic acid and vitamin supplements. After birth, she hadn't taken anything except medicine prescribed at the hospital. Oh, but, Jennifer suddenly remembered, I was drinking herbal tea that my mother-in-law made for me every day. Herbal tea. Detective Reynolds leaned forward. Please tell me more. Jennifer explained about the special herbal tea Margaret had brought. She told him about drinking it daily without fail for the stated purpose of improving milk production, and how Margaret regularly brought new versions with changed formulations. Do you still have that herbal tea? Yes, there's still some left in the kitchen. The detective immediately collected samples of the herbal tea for evidence. Then he obtained a search warrant for Margaret's home. That evening, the police team visited Margaret's house. She appeared surprised but acted cooperatively. However, what was discovered in the basement of the house turned all suspicions into certainty. In the back of the basement was a small hidden room. Large quantities of Chinese medicinal herbs, chemical drugs, and old books were stored there. Many of the books were written in Chinese, describing secret methods for promoting male births. The most shocking discovery was a diary that Margaret had been writing for many years. Its contents were so filled with madness that even Detective Reynolds was left speechless. The first entry in the diary dated back 15 years. The Harrison bloodline must not be broken. Only women who bear sons are true family members. Reading further revealed horrifying facts. Margaret had done the same thing to 3 other women in the past. She had secretly administered harmful drugs to her son's former girlfriends and ex-wives from pregnancy through postpartum. Sarah, the first one, left Tom after 2 miscarriages. Lisa, the second, suffered from unexplained health problems after childbirth and eventually divorced. Kate, the third, miscarried in early pregnancy. All thanks to my secret medicine, I was able to eliminate inappropriate women. The diary also detailed male birth promotion medicine secretly obtained from a Chinese herbal doctor. This medicine punishes women who bear daughters and improves their constitution to ensure they bear sons next time. This is necessary treatment for the prosperity of the Harrison family. Entries about Jennifer began from the time of her marriage. This woman also needs to be tested for her ability to bear sons. If she bears a daughter, appropriate treatment must be administered. The most recent entry was written right after Emma's birth. As expected, she bore a girl. However, this time I need to increase the concentration to ensure the effectiveness of the secret medicine. The next pregnancy should definitely produce a son. Detective Reynolds sighed deeply after finishing the diary. Even in his long experience, such a calculated and malicious crime was rare. Once the evidence was gathered, Margaret was arrested for attempted murder and drug law violations. In the interrogation room, she initially denied everything, but faced with overwhelming evidence, she finally confessed to everything. "I did nothing wrong," Margaret claimed through tears. "I was only trying to protect the Harrison bloodline. Women who can't bear sons bring disaster to the family." "You endangered the life of an innocent baby," Detective Reynolds said sternly. "Your actions constitute attempted murder." "I was just trying to protect my family." Margaret's voice became increasingly deranged. "As a mother, as a grandmother, we needed a boy to continue the family line. I just used ancient Chinese wisdom." "How many women did you hurt with that ancient wisdom?" Margaret fell silent. But that silence told the whole story. At the hospital, Jennifer and Tom were informed of Margaret's arrest. The two were speechless and could only hold each other. "I can't believe it," Jennifer whispered through tears. "That person who was so kind to us." "My mother," Tom held his head. "My mother tried to kill you both." Fortunately, Emma's surgery was successful and it was confirmed there would be no after effects. The doctors praised Jennifer for noticing the changes early and acting quickly. If discovery had been delayed by even a few more days, Emma's life would have been in danger. Psychiatric evaluation revealed that Margaret was diagnosed with severe delusional disorder. Years of male supremacist beliefs and abnormal obsession with family lineage continuation had worsened, causing her to lose the ability to recognize reality. At trial, Margaret was sentenced to 15 years in prison. However, she continued to insist until the end that her actions were correct. "Someday, you will understand my feelings too," Margaret said to Jennifer in court. "Only by bearing sons can one become a true mother." Jennifer gripped her husband's hand and answered resolutely, "I am proud to be Emma's mother. Gender doesn't matter." As Margaret was led away by security guards, she continued to let out insane laughter. That voice carved deep terror into the hearts of everyone in the courtroom. 6 months passed. Jennifer and Tom had moved to a small town in the suburbs of Austin, about a 2-hour drive from Houston. Their new house was by a lake, surrounded by a large yard and warm sunlight. It was a decision to distance themselves from past nightmares and start a new life as a family of 3. Emma was now 8 months old and the picture of health. Regular checkups found no aftereffects from that terrible incident. She had grown into a curious, frequently laughing baby. Watching her crawl on the lawn in the yard, that hospital terror seemed like a lie. "Emma, come here," Jennifer reached out to her daughter. Emma cheerfully made sounds while crawling unsteadily closer. Seeing that smile, Jennifer's heart filled with warm happiness. Tom had started a new job. He was working at a local environmental engineering company, involved in developing sustainable energy systems. Though deeply wounded by his mother's crime, he was gradually recovering thanks to his wife and daughter. "Today, I think Emma said, Dada," Tom reported excitedly when he came home from work. "Really?" Jennifer smiled. I think it's still early, but it's possible. No, I definitely heard it. Dada, Tom picked up Emma and lifted her high. Emma joyfully cried out. After dinner, the three of them sat on the garden terrace watching the sunset. The light reflecting on the lake's surface was beautiful, and water birds were calling in the distance. The two deeply understood how precious such peaceful moments were. When I think about that time, I still get frightened, Jennifer said, gripping her husband's hand. But at the same time, I'm grateful. Grateful that I trusted my instincts. No matter what others said, I'm proud of myself for not ignoring what I felt as a mother. Tom nodded deeply. Your maternal instinct saved Emma's life. And it taught us what truly matters. What truly matters? That family isn't just about blood relations. Not about gender either. It's about the feelings of loving and protecting each other. Tom gently kissed Emma's cheek. Whether this child was a boy or girl, she's our most precious treasure in the world. The following week, Jennifer decided to start volunteer work at the local counseling center. It was an organization supporting victims of domestic violence and abuse, and she wanted to use her experience to help other women. I want to ensure that families like ours never experience this again, she explained to Tom. Especially, I want more people to know about violence committed in the name of traditional values. Tom fully supported his wife's decision. The two wanted to give back to society the lessons they had learned through Emma's incident. One day, Jennifer received a letter. The sender was Lisa, one of the women Margaret had targeted in the past. She had learned about the incident through the news and reached out. The letter contained words of gratitude and relief at finally understanding the truth behind the unexplained health problems she had experienced. The mystery of many years has been solved. Thanks to your courage, other women have been saved too. Jennifer read the letter through tears. She realized their suffering had not been in vain. At night, after putting Emma to sleep, Jennifer and Tom talked quietly. We've become strong, Jennifer said, resting her head on her husband's shoulder. Yes. But we learned something even more important. Tom gently stroked his wife's hair. That love transcends gender and bloodline. From across the lake came the sound of wild birds calling. It was a peaceful and beautiful melody. When Emma grows up, how should we explain this? Jennifer asked somewhat anxiously. We'll tell her the truth, Tom answered without hesitation. But we'll teach her about the importance of love, not hatred. That grandma was sick, but we chose to forgive her and move forward. At that moment, a small laugh came from Emma's room. She seemed to be laughing in her sleep. The two looked at each other and smiled. She must be having good dreams. Angel dreams. Tom stood up and took his wife's hand. Our angel's dreams. Life in the new town flowed at a gentle pace. The wounds of the past hadn't completely healed, but the three of them were steadily moving forward. They had learned what true family means and believed in the power of love. Emma's smile was a symbol of hope in the future. Regardless of gender, she embodied the beauty of a child raised with love. And for Jennifer and Tom, that was the most precious treasure in life.